And the thing is that once you get past the sheer fucking insanity of this reveal, you realize that this explains everything. Why would Matanui's death cause the death of the universe? Well, that's an easy one. Matanui is the universe. His death means the shutdown of all of its systems. Why did Matanui falling into slumber cause this massive earthquake? Because he literally fell into slumber. For that matter, why is the Mtorin universe at the bottom of the ocean? Because that's where he fell. Why did Voyanui have to be returned to the Mtorin universe and the hole in the ceiling patched? Because there was a hole in Matanui's stomach and part of his intestines were floating on the surface of the ocean. The machines inside the Coderex that the Toa Nuva had to rev up, that was his engine. And of course everything in Cardanui burned up when it was activated, because that's what happens when you're inside an engine while it's running. Why did the island of Matanui need to be cleared by the Borak? Because that island formed above Matanui's face, and when Matanui awakened, his head needed to pass through it without anything snagging on him and causing damage. This even answers questions that we didn't even know we were asking. Why is Mtorin life so depressing? Why is it an endless procession of toil to no clear purpose? Well, what do you think the lives of your cells are like, if not a lifetime of toil in service to nothing but an abstract great spirit? Trenkrom, you remember Trenkrom, the old god of the Mtorin universe, the weird fleshy thing that ran the body until Matanui was ready to take over himself, at which point it was cut out? That's a fucking umbilical cord, bro. And the most important question of all, why did Makuta want Matanui to die and then come back to life and then be reawakened? Because Makuta is not a biomechanical entity, he is living energy in a metal shell, and he can take over any metal shell as long as it has no animating consciousness. And guess what the fucking universe robot is while Matanui is dead? And guess whose previous metal shell just happened to get destroyed at the exact same moment that Matanui died, leaving Makuta's energy free to travel to the core processor beneath Metronui and infect it. Now obviously he couldn't have the robot stay dead because he would just die in its brain, so he had to rely on the Toa to do what they do best and bring Matanui back to life. And then even if he's in the brain, if the robot's systems are dormant, he still can't do anything, so he had to rely on the Toa to reawaken the robot. So when the Great Spirit robot awakens, it awakens with Makuta in the driver's seat, now in full control of the universe with absolute power and authority, having taken by virtue of his intellect and his cunning what Matanui was given freely by birthright. And with all the other Makutas that might be able to do the same thing now dead, the only threat left to him is the Great Spirit himself, whose consciousness he binds to the mask of life before ejecting it from the Mtorin universe into space. And that is where Bionicle 2008 ends.